I don't know. Maybe I'll put, he's running around something. So let me see. So create polygons primitives. I'll make a cube. I'll make it bigger. Oh god, it's a circle. Hang on a second. Create polygons primitives cube. Bigger. And I'm going to take that cube and I'm going to put it here. And see what that looks like. And what I'll do is I'll also just snap these points here. So I'm going to go in there and press F8 and snap these two using these to the grid, so it's the right place. Yeah, and I'll press F8. So we've got this. I'm going to add this to this layer as well, so I don't select it by accident. So he's running around this kind of box. I'm going to take this snapping thing off, move it in a bit, and I'm going to pull this face out slightly. Face. That's annoying. Oh, why is for some reason it's not selecting this face. Anyway, I'm going to use the vertexes. Don't know why the faces I'm not selecting. I'll use the vertexes instead. Oh, sorry. It would help if I had it on R in the layer. That's why it wasn't working. That means that you can't actually select it. So I'm going to pull this out a bit so it's like this. So he's running around that block, whatever that is. Yeah. Okay. There a bit. Okay, so yeah, I may have to change that. We'll see anyway. So that's the block. And so how do you do this? Okay, well, the first thing I need is we're going to need some locators. I noticed this. First thing I'm going to do is clean this up. This particular rig has tons of little nodes. It's not very neat, so I'm going to put all of this heavy run rig thing in another group just to clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to go and I'm just going to group that and call that heavy. Oops, I'll take this out of the group though. Heavy GRP. This shouldn't be in the group, so I'll ungroup that. Pull it out. Ungroup. There we go. Get that out. Yeah. So I've got my guy, and what I'm going to do is I want him to run along this path. Now, presently, the forward motion that we've been using has been governed by this, but what we want is we want to get the forward motion onto this control, this one here, see this thing here in the middle, and the feet control, yeah? Right. Now, in order to do this, we need some locators. Now, these things are pull vectors. So they control the knees. If I move this, the knee will move. You probably I'll see it better on this one. If I move this, see the knees moving, yeah? Okay, so they control the knees. Now, if you're using Monty, for example, Monty's pull vectors are grouped under, parented under this control. That means when you pull this control forward, the pull vectors for Monty move forward. So in Monty's case, you are not going to need as many locators as in a rig that has the pull vectors parented under this. You can tell what controls are parented under what controls. If you press in a control and everything, all the other controls that go green mean that those other controls are its children. So in this case, the main control, the pull vectors are its children. Okay? Well, and I know that, I mean, because it's the main control, everything is a child of this control. But on some rigs, you may press this control and these two would also end up being green. And if these two were green, if you press this, it would mean that they were parented under this. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to make 7 locators. Okay, I'll show you how it works. So I go create, and then I go to locator, and I've got locator 1, and I'm just press Control D7 to 6 times. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right. Now I'm going to give the locators names. This one I'm going to call path waste. Yeah. And this one I'm going to call anim waste. This one I'm going to call path feet. I'll show you how this works. This one I'm going to call left foot anim. This one, you just double click to change the names. Right foot anim. And these two are called pull vectors, so I'm going to call one. You can call these, I'm making these names up, you can call them anything you like, but I'm just trying to think of names that mean something. I'll call this pull A, and I'll call this pull B. Okay, right. So, what are we going to do? Well, first, I'm going to show what these locators look like. Where are the locators? They are here. I'm going to make them a bit bigger so we can see them. So I'm going to select them all, and I'm going to crack their scale up to 5. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, 5 looks good. I'm going to take the grid away so we don't see it. So 5. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do something. I'm going to parent the anim waste locator to the path waste locator. Now what does that mean? Well, if I parent something, it means that I'm going to, I'll show you what it means in terms of shape. So I'll just bring 2 shapes so I can show you very quickly. Polygons, cube. I'll make that a bit bigger. And I'll create polygons, cone. Make that a bit bigger. I'm going to show you the different. Okay, so here's a so I've got a cube and a cone. Now, like if I parent the cube under the cone, so if I take the cube, middle mouse drag under the cone. Under the cone now, you see I've got this cube. Now look, here's the interesting thing. When I select the cone now, the cube automatically selects. If I move do you understand? This controls this because it's a parent. So Maya works in hierarchies, yeah? Yeah? So I'm going to parent the anim waste. It will be a child of the path waste. So now the anim waste is on the anim waste is a child of the path waste. The path waste is a parent. Now I'm going to take the left and right foot and make them children of the path feet. And finally, for the pull vectors, I'm going to make them children of the path waste. Doesn't matter, I could make them children of the path feet, but I'll make them children of the path waste. Now, presently you can't see anything because all the locators have come in the same place. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, with this, I've got the path waste selected, the path waste locator. I'm going to shift select the path, and in the animation control, animation menu, I'm going to go to constrain motion paths attached to motion path. Yeah? And you think, well, what has happened? Well, look, there's a locator, the path waste locator. And you might be thinking, well, where is this locator? Well, look, I've just clicked on it here. Look what happens if I pull this down a bit. You can see it's just there. It is the child. So it's moving with this. A lot of locators, they come in on top of each other, you see. So there it is, moving on top of that, right? And the pole A and pole B, well, they're there as well, yeah. I'm dragging them down so you can see that they're there, yeah. So all those locators are there, right? Now you got the path feet locator. Well, I select the locator, I then shift select the path, and do the same thing. I go to constrain motion paths attached to motion path. So now I have all these sets of locators. Right. So what I do next is I'm going to have him running pretty much at a constant speed. So initially I'm going to go into the path waste and path feet, and this is the line. It defaults to them slowing down, speeding up and then slowing down again. I'm going to take that and change it and just make it a constant speed, yeah? Both are traveling now, excuse me, at a constant speed. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to line up these locators. Actually, before I do any of that, I'm just going to detach them for a second, both those locators and that one there. I'm detach it. Before I attach it, I want to do something first. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I actually want to increase I've got this at 120 frames. Now, it's always best to have this where you have more frames, because you can always cut it down later. So as opposed to having 120, let's say 200 going to be enough. I might make this 300. 300 frames, I'll make it 300. This might be too much, I might have to speed it up a lot, but I can always speed it up. Okay, so I'll make it 300, it might be going, or 250, I'll make it 250. Okay, so 250. Well, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to attach the path waste. So I've got it selected, path waste, select the path, constrain motion paths, attach to motion path. I'll do the same thing with the path feet. Select the motion path. Select the motion path. Control select path feet. Constrain motion paths. Attach to motion path. I'll make sure that both these are linear. Okay, going a bit slower, but there we go. This is what I want. Right, now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to the side view, get rid of this, and I'm just going to line these up. You see these locators, the path waste and the path feet. I'm going to try and get this so they're roughly in the middle of the character. So here looks about right to me. This path feet thing is in the middle, more or less, of the body, and the path waste, if I make this wireframe, I can see is pretty much in the middle here as well. Okay, see either that frame or that frame. Actually, maybe this is better. I'll go for frame 24. Okay, so it's lining up in the middle. Right, perfect. Okay, now I have to do something. I have to take this, the path waste and the path feet, and presently these are traveling along this, and I have to mute the translations and rotations on these. Yeah, so the path waste and path feet, you can see there's translations because it's a path animation along this path. I have to go in, select these channels, and just go mute selected, and they go brown. And now, and I got to remember it's frame 24 where they all line up, and so frame 24 is where I'm starting my animation essentially. Okay, now I'm just going to scrub on from frame 24. You can see now, because I've muted this, they are no longer traveling along the path. Yeah.